Well, good evening. I want to thank you for joining us tonight. And I have the pleasure of listening with you all to Dr. Amanda Smith. And I met Dr. Amanda Smith for the first time with Shelley Sheridan about 5 years ago when her and her husband were first introduced to Neolife. We were at a Wisdom Builder retreat. I can't remember what state we were in, but we were somewhere in the US. I remember when they came to the meeting, Tom had his hands crossed. He was sitting in the back, and Amanda had this kind of not sure face on, and she's a pharmacist, and her husband is actually a sniper for the FBI. And it was really interesting to meet them. And they were not looking for a business opportunity. They met Josh and Chelsea, and they just told him to come and check it out. And she told her husband that she had to come, and it was his hunting weekend. And he did not want to give up his hunting weekend. And she told him, look, if I'm going to this, you're coming with me and you're going to miss your hunting weekend. So anyways, it's kind of comical the way they tell the story. And when they came, by the end of that weekend, they were so grateful and they feel so blessed. Being a pharmacist, she knows what's going on in the industry. She knows what's on the shelves. She knows what people are purchasing. And she had some a lot of challenges in her family with their sons, with his health. And she's going to share a little bit about her journey. But I love the way she expresses the challenges, how she overcame them, because she's very, very busy. And she didn't know how she would fit this business into her life. So anyways, I'm going to have her share, and then we'll have a little bit of a discussion around her journey. So give me 1 second.
And when I was first asked to speak or to share today, I really didn't know what I was going to talk about, whether it was going to be a health topic or a product. There's so much going on in the pharmacy world, but I'll just have to tell you that the more I pondered, I just kept coming back to reflecting on the last 5 years of our Neolife journey. So this November will be 5 years since we actually started our Neolife journey. And I just wanted to share some things that were on my heart that I hope you find value in today. I'm not sure where it will land each of you, but it's been super impactful for me. So I did make a few notes so I can try to stay on track and respect everybody's time. So the first thing I want to tell you is that I learned that the products are phenomenal. And that sounds silly to say, but when we were first introduced, I had no doubt, based on the science behind the products, I did my own research, that the products were incredible and that they were filling whole food nutritional gaps. But I think the importance in this is that when you start putting it in your own body, and I think you hear over and over, be a product of the product. It's so important because when I started putting it in my own body, started seeing it in my family and my friends, and you start consistently day in and day out, start to feel differences because you're feeling those gaps, you're actually filling nutritional gaps and deficiencies, then you can't help but to feel better and to just share that with others. And as I felt better in ways that I never even thought were possible. I didn't think that I would feel better. I was pretty healthy before. I tried to eat healthy, tried to exercise. So when we first started, my focus wasn't on me. Actually, it was actually on one of our children that had some definite nutritional deficiencies. But when I started putting it in my body on a daily basis, I noticed a huge difference. And that made me desire to optimize my health even more. And I think that's super important to understand, because I think when we live it out, when you're actually living out, putting the products in your mouth daily, people notice. Because if you feel better, it reflects in everything you do. Your entire demeanor is different. I mean, think about it. When you don't feel good, even if you have an off day, it's reflected in the way you speak to people. A lot of times it's reflected in your mood, and people notice that. So I think that's an important lesson. As I started being consistent, and we have been consistent every single day for those 5 years. And I'll tell you, you can't help but just to add more and more because you just tend to feel better and better. But with that, I think you have to understand that all of our bodies are the same yet different. So you're going through different things in life. Like for me right now, I'm in that perimenopausal area. And so you have different needs. And so you have to really tune into those and be aware of those. But you don't have to know everything about every product. And that's something that I think is super important as well, because I think so many times, especially if you're science minded like me, you want to dive in and do all the research, but it's already been done for you. So use your resources, use people that have been on products forever, and just get them in your body and you'll start seeing a difference. The second thing that I think is super important that I've learned over these 5 years is to invest in relationships and be super genuine. Whenever you hear anybody share their near-life story, they can't help but to talk about the community. And I'll have to tell you, if you've heard our story, you know that we went to an event, hadn't put a single product in our body, and it was the community that drew us in. And I've had to learn over these past years, I think, that you just love people where they're at. And when you love people where they're at and you're super genuine, then people notice that you care. I think sometimes in the beginning, especially for me, I was so excited about what we had our hands on. I was so excited about the quality and the science behind it that many times I was sharing with so many people, but I was sharing information and I was missing the person. And I think too many times we can do that. We're so excited and we still know how valuable what we have our hands on is. But if you don't take the time to develop the relationship with the person and see the person, I think you miss out on a lot, because there's so many things that people are going through that you don't know unless you start investing in their life and spend time with them and journey with them. And in turn, they will ask, but you also learn what's happening in their life financially. Can you help them with our business financially? Can you help them set goals? Can you help them with products based on where they are in their health journey? Are they just getting started, or have they been on a health journey and you see certain needs? So I think it's super important to focus on the person and invest in people and be super genuine with them. The third area I would say would be personal growth and development. Now, I was brand new to the network marketing industry. For whatever reason, I was in corporate America. I knew it existed, but it had a very negative connotation in most instances in the areas that I have heard it. But if you listen to anybody who's been in network marketing for any amount of time, they rave about the personal growth and development. And I didn't know at the time just how impactful that would be just 5 years in to our journey. When we first started 5 years ago, our life looks very different. We were in a very different season of life. We're a blended family. We have 4 children. At the time, they were all teenagers. They were all about the same age. Life was chaotic. My husband and I worked full time, and we had these 4 teenagers that we were trying to get here and there, super involved. And we were starting this side gig. We were starting to improve and optimize our health journey. And so it was a whole different area or season for us. And I think the important thing that we did in that journey is we stayed plugged in. We stayed plugged in through the chaos. We stayed plugged in through the trials and so many things that we went through personally. And everybody goes through trials. Everybody has things that they're dealing with, but we stayed plugged in, and through staying plugged in this community, we were stretched and we grew, and I became a better wife. I became a better mom. I became a better friend. And then I was able to see that growth little by little, because when you're in trials, it's kind of hard sometimes unless you step outside of them. And I was able to see that growth when you had people just pouring into you, and I was able to be more intentional about my personal growth and development. more intentional about spending time in the Word, more intentional about listening to podcasts, more intentional about surrounding myself with people that were wiser than me, that I could gain wisdom from to become a better wife and a better mom and a better friend. And I think as you do that, as you start really investing in personal growth and development, then you crave it. You crave, as you know better, as you do better, you want to be even better. And so I can say right now, I'm in a season, all of our kids are pretty much out of the house, and I can afford to dedicate more time and energy to this area of my life. And I'm really loving it. It's a great season to be in. But I'm just telling you, whatever season of life you're in, stay plugged in, because you will grow if you allow yourself to be. I mean, we can always become bitter or better, right? If you choose to be better and you choose to stay plugged in, it will be beneficial for sure. The fourth thing that I wanted to say is that mindset is everything. Well, if not everything, mindset is super important, as well as motivation. I think it's so important to our success. It's so important to our success in this business and life in general. I think so many times our own self-limiting beliefs just really paralyze us. And so this has been huge for me as well. I think, as most of us would say, it's something we always have to actively work on. But as I became intentional, you have to really be careful what you read, what you listen to, what you watch, who you hang around. And I think this is important, because as you put positive in, positive comes out. So whatever you're putting into your mind and what you see will help shape our mindset. And with that, when you start having a positive mindset and listening to things that help you with your mindset on a daily basis, surrounding yourself with those kind of people, then your motivation also increases, or it's a component of that, I would say, and your visions and your goals change. You actually dream bigger, you think bigger, you imagine a better life for yourself and for your family, and you have better goals for helping others and really investing in other people. And I say with motivation is not one of those things that you're just motivated. It's something that you have to do on the daily. Think about our events. I mean, we have events every 90 days. So we have team events, and then we have impacts, our corporate events also. And so the goal is, everybody knows that motivation, when you go to one of these events, you are on a high, because you are highly motivated most of the time. You come off of that, and if you're not careful, as quickly as you went on that high with your motivation, you'll crash right down to the bottom. So you have to be intentional about daily getting some motivation. You have to surround yourself with encouragers. Find encouragers in your life. And if you're like, how do I find encouragers? I would challenge you to be an encourager. Be an encourager. I can promise you, if you start intentionally encouraging those around you, genuinely encouraging others, then you will attract those type of people. So I think that motivation and mindset is something that we need to work on daily. And that's something that I'll just tell you a quick story with this for me. I had been with a company just in my career for 26 years. Thought I would retire with them, had 6 weeks of vacation, but the culture started going downhill. And I saw that. And because I was so, because it's so important to me, because I prioritize mindset and motivation and being around the right culture and people, I made a really hard decision. I left that company after 26 years and started a brand new company from ground zero. And I'm not talking, there was a pay enticement to go to the other company. It was the fact that I saw that the culture was something that I believed in and I wanted to be a part of. And the place that I was, the culture had drastically declined. And I knew that I didn't want to be around that daily. And so it's so important that you wrap your mind and that you are plugged into these type of positive things daily. And the last thing I'll say is gratitude is everything. I think that's a game changer in the way we live. We know life is hard. I have to say, I will forever be grateful to Josh and Chelsea Clark for introducing us to Neolife and this community and what the impact that it's had on us so far. I'm so excited about the future and running with this even further. But I'll forever be grateful. But I'm talking about more than that. I'm talking about daily finding true gratitude in your trials. When life has kicked you in the face and you just can't find your way up in the moment. If we can train our minds and train our hearts to be grateful and have that kind of attitude, then your entire outlook, you can change your trajectory. I truly believe that with all of my heart. It's the whole thing also of becoming bitter or becoming better. You have to choose that. We could choose to become bitter because of what we go through. We could choose to be bitter because life is hard. But if you choose to be better and you choose to have an attitude of gratitude, then I think you'll go much further in life. And this list isn't all inclusive by any means, but those are just some things that were on my heart and I wanted to share with you all. And the last thing that I would say, find people that you can just laugh with. Laughter is so good for the soul. And if you can find those people you can belly laugh with, then there's nothing better than that's incredible medicine for the soul. So with that, Alan, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Amanda, so good. Thank you so much. Well, can you recap the 5? I had, these might be in different words than you used, but number 1, I had basically be a product of the product. 2 was invest in relationships and invest in genuine relationships. Mm-hmm. 3 was personal growth and development.
Yes.
And then 4 was mindset, or did I miss one?
No, 4 is mindset and motivation.
And then 5 was gratitude.
Yes.
I love it. So good. And I love, thank you, Amanda. Thank you so much for taking time to prepare those thoughts and share them with us in such a powerful way. And I loved, if people aren't able to see the chat, I love a lot of awesome comments. But Chelsea, I love the quote that she brought up about Zig Ziglar. You know, when you're talking about motivation, I was thinking this, and then Chelsea dropped it in there, but Zig Ziglar said, motivation's like a shower. We need it every day. You know, a shower doesn't last forever, you know, and we need that. And so it's so important. I also love how you were talking about finding encouragers, being around encouragers, and the importance of who we're around in our associations, and, you know, the power of what, you know, many people would refer to as masterminds and communities. And that's what we have here. That's what we are a part of. And it's super, super special. And I love that you said how, because I was thinking, well, you know, I could only hear someone saying, well, man, how do I find the encouragers? And then you answered the question, be one. I mean, be one. It's amazing. I saw someone who sat on a Facebook, he sat in like a coffee shop just inside the door. And as people walked in, he met them with he's, you know, kind of anyway, doesn't matter what he looks like, kind of with the frown, stern look, just a stern look. And every single one met him with the stern look. And then he switched and he's like, okay, now I'm going to smile. And everyone that walked through the door, he met with a big old cheesy smile. And every person without fail, I mean, might have thought he was crazy, but every person without fail met him with a big old smile. And it was just such a good reminder that, and I was just watching this and hearing him talk about it. I'm like, yes, we definitely attract the person we are. And so Alan, where are you in your positivity? In the things I want in other people? Like, where are you in your positivity? Where are you in your gratitude? These things you're talking about, where are you in your ability to be an encourager to other people? I want people to be that for me. Am I being that for them? You know, and then as you were talking, I was thinking even about how, like, all of us on this call, I would guess there's not a single person on this call, you, me, and all of us included, that aren't like, where are even more leaders in Neolife? Where are my directors? Where are people that see this opportunity and treat it like a business? Like, not the, you know, $10 a month business that it might be for some, but the $1 million a month business that it is for some, and everything in between, but like a real business, right? A legitimate business. Like, where are those people that are excited and positive and leaders? And then I'm thinking, well, yeah, we attract what we are. How are we viewing our business and treating it and communicating about it and living it? That's what we're going to attract. So good. So awesome. We got a few minutes left. I'll open it up if anyone else has any comments or
Hey, Alan,
questions for you. Go ahead, Josh.
I just want to say, Amanda, awesome job. And I mean, so many excellent points that I need to hear that's great to be reminded of. And one of the things that just stood out, many things did, and knowing Amanda very well and her husband, Tom. But one is just, he talked about, input and being by the campfire, talking about quarterly events and then the corporate, events. And they have been an amazing example of that. And, somebody might, and I know Amanda won't mind me saying this, but somebody might think, well, she's Dr. Amanda Smith, so she probably has lots of money to invest in herself and all that. But I know she won't mind me saying, just me, a blended family, starting, changing jobs and all. I mean, they just knowing them really, really personally, I'd just say they've been through some really big challenges. And at times where they were like all of us were starting our business, you start from zero and you build your way up. And I remember them like it being I'll just leave it at that, a huge sacrifice to make it. And her time off, like deciding between vacation and going to retreat or going to convention. And, I know the common struggles that we all have. I'm like, well, should I go to a second retreat this year? Or should I just stay at home and invest in my business? Or it's not where I want to be yet. And they were just an amazing example of just coming back saying, no, I need to be there, not only for my business, for my personal growth and development, to be the spouse I want to be the parent I want to be. And so I just can't say enough praise for knowing them from the inside, being even neighbors of theirs, and just have the utmost respect. And I know that as solid as their business is, strong Emerald directors, I know because of the commitments they're making, it's just a matter of time before they're going to be world team and beyond. So they really are a great example for all of us. Thank you, Amanda.
So I wanted to stop it at that spot because, when she talks about, or when even Josh pointed out some of the sacrifices and her being a pharmacist and thinking that they had a lot of money. And if you ever meet her, she'll share some of the challenges and struggles she really, really had. And I remember speaking with her and just not having that belief, not really knowing, if she could do it because of the lack of time. And, she loved the community. And she even said, being at that retreat with us, she loved the people. She fell in love with the people. She loved their faith. She loved their belief system. She loved everything, but she just didn't know if she had the time. And I guess when she went home, and she even said when the products got into her, she just did what she could with the time that she had. And that's what I did, guys. I mean, a lot of people think, oh, Nada, it happened. It was so easy for you. Man, it was not. Like some of you that are new to this, to our team, I was working 10-hour days. I was in court on my days off. I was exhausted. I lived, over an hour and 20 minutes, I guess, away from the city. A lot of times I was sleeping on somebody's couch. I wasn't going home after night shift. I was sleeping on the office floor at the Neolife office when we had an office in Brampton. I just knew that I wanted to leave my job. I knew that there was something I wanted more out of life. And I made some small sacrifices because I knew I had to make those sacrifices. So when people say they don't have time, I didn't have time. I didn't think I had time, but I found the time and I shared it wherever I was. And once the products impacted my life and my family and my friends, it was amazing how time wasn't a factor, because I was just what do they say, in the nooks and crannies of your day, right? So anyways, that is what one of the most powerful messages I got in the community. I mean, we have people that have been with me in my team for 35 years that are still senior managers. They're still executive managers, but you know what? They're happy where they are. And they're still there because of the community. They just love the people. So wherever you are in your life, wherever you are in your journey, you will have a place. You will find that. and whatever you want from this business, we can help you get there. So anything else from anybody? There was so much that, oh my gosh, was thrown at us tonight. I just loved it. And again, those of you that are coming to the summit, I really encourage you to get to just go and give Amanda a hug. She's such a sweetheart. Anybody else? Just share. Yes, when you can unmute, okay? Everybody can unmute now because everybody was muted when they came in.
I was thinking about Amanda making, I mean, she had lots of things I'd talk about, but this one really struck me because it was near the end and I could remember it. But she said, when you have to decide between going to the vacation or going to a convention or a retreat, I think that the retreat and the convention are a vacation. I mean, we as Canadians get to travel to places we wouldn't normally go to, and we see all those wonderful people. It's just really fun. So
Yeah.
anyway, it is a vacation when you're not having other vacations. So there you go.
Absolutely. And this talk that Dr. Amanda Smith did, the Wisdom Builders have a weekly Friday 30-minute call every Friday, and it's on their Wisdom Builders Facebook group. So you can even go back and listen to it there. If you've missed tonight, or I'm going to send this recording, I highly recommend sending this out to your team if they're not on the call tonight, because this is, I think, a very powerful message. And Allison, somebody new to the team, how did you feel about, Dr. Amanda's message? Because I know, you're like a baby in the industry. You're new to our team, and you kind of remind me of Amanda because you're so excited. And you kind of don't know where you're going, but you kind of know where you're going.
Yeah. I mean, when she was talking about it, hi everybody. When she was talking about it, I was thinking of my life. I am thinking of my life. I mean, I've got 4 kids. It's like running around still, trying to, think about everything and putting things in place and organizing myself, to do a business and put it all together, but very excited, and it's so nice and refreshing to hear her talk. Because it keeps me more positive now and motivated that, I don't have to know everything too. And, I'm kind of excited because I've always been interested in health and learning and promoting it. And coming into Neolife, I myself am going through my own experiences, with my health issues, and I'm seeing positivity, and just hearing from everybody and the experiences, it does help enlighten me. So I'm happy that, that I like the circle of people too coming together to share, which makes you even feel so welcoming into, this whole group of people who are really positive, and it's very natural. What can I say?
It is very natural. Awesome. Now this is your is it second month, Joan, or their second or third month?
Month, and she's a new senior manager.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Allison.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, fantastic.
There's Anne who came on.
And hello, Anne. You'll get to this. You can unmute yourself, and I really encourage you to go back and listen to the beginning, the first half of this, when I send out the recording, because it'll be really powerful. Dr. Amanda Smith is just a sweetheart. Yeah.
You're muted.
Anybody else? Anything? Any other message or anything that kind of like was a aha, or that you'd like to maybe expand on, or that maybe just hit your heart or your soul, or this is for you guys. I want you guys to share. It's important to communicate. Joan, you want to say something?
I think staying plugged in. I think that's a big thing. When I have my schedule and everything is in there, that's my priority. And when you do that, things don't come up as much as if you didn't put it in, then there's always something coming up. Of course, when you have work, it's different. If you have a job, it's different, right? But that's even can impact some. It's a foregone conclusion that I am going. Something might come up and I might not be able to go. But I am going. So it's in my schedule. So that's how committed I am. And one other thing I was thinking about, in my experience, when you have a struggle, or you say, oh, you don't feel like doing this or whatever, right? Then you ask yourself, what's the alternative, right? Mm-hmm. And I think, well, the alternative for me would be to go back to the hospital, do 12-hour shifts. So that gets me right back on track, right? So you have to think about what you want as well as what you don't want. So mine was, I didn't want to go back to the hospital, right? So sometimes when you're feeling that way, you have to, so it's important to know what you want. That's the first, that's to say it first, right? Is know what you want. And sometimes know what you don't want.
Love it. That was me, Joan. I knew what I didn't want. That's
Well,
awesome.
I'm working towards what I don't want either. You know, being on a night shift and coming on late to my meetings. I don't want to be really late for these meetings. You know, I have to catch up on my sleep, you know, so I'm working towards, you know, trying to work more day shifts, you know, so I can come on and be at the meetings and be more prominent here.
Yeah.
And you know, just be with a great team
Yeah.
of positive
And you know,
people.
I remember those night shifts, and you're right. It's, you know, you're functioning in a different tiredness, but you go on adrenaline and you're going on this amazing desire and passion that you just do it. And eventually, you know, you're gonna be able to say goodbye to that. And that's where, you know, you're looking at what you do want, what you don't want, and that's going to be your drive to keep going, right? So awesome.
Yeah.
I think Florence might, I think she might be gone. If she's still there, are you there,
No,
Florence?
I am still here. Can you
Well,
guys see
I
me?
think Florence would be powerful. Your story, as I say to Florence, is sometimes
Hold on.
we're
Can you
here,
guys see me?
we're here to save you, Florence.
You're gonna save me?
In terms
You know
of
what?
your job, you know.
Yeah, no, for me, when she was speaking, what really resonated with me is being around very positive people. As you guys all know, working in the corporate world can be very toxic and very negative. So being surrounded with all of you ladies is really a blessing. You guys are very positive, and I love that we can share stories and get excited together. For me, that's really motivating for me and help me to move in the right direction. So just thank you guys very much for that. So it really resonated. Her story really resonated for me because my schedule, as I say, it's crazy. You know, every couple months I'm flying out all over the place. I got to fly out to the States for another 2.5 weeks, I should say. So it's just, you know, trying to find family, you know, work-life balance is a struggle sometimes. So, you know, my goal, as I shared with Joan, is to fully transition over to neo-life. So I just got to stay positive, be motivated, and just keep working hard.
And you know, Florence, when you're flying all over like that, you can build your business anywhere.
Yes.
On the plane, at the airport, you know, you're meeting new people. Because I think sometimes the biggest challenge for people is they're not meeting new people.
Yes.
Right? You got to find a way to make new people if you're not working. I know when you're in that boat, right? And same with me, when I left my police career, I had to find a way to make new people. And I did through my kids, I did through the sporting events, I did through, you know, through networking. But you're there. You're meeting new people, and you're doing it in the nooks and crannies of your day, which is awesome.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And we didn't have internet and cell phones back when I was doing it. So you guys have it easy peasy. I was faxing and photocopying and mailing and faxing and mailing. And oh my gosh, you guys just a push of a button and you can send it to everybody, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
It's true.
Driving an hour to the meeting as opposed to going on Zoom, right?
Yeah. Every
right,
Tuesday, Thursday, we were driving an hour there, an hour back, and snowstorms and ice storms. And I got in that car, and you know, I remember arguing and fighting with people saying, "You're not driving the night." My mom, like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm going to my neo-life meeting." "No, you're sleeping, Mom." I said, "Mom, I'm going to my neo-life meeting." And you know, I just knew I had to be there. I did not want to be there. I needed to be around that community because I was, you know, a very negative environment, and I knew that I had to be there. Right? Unless the roads were closed, then I wouldn't go. But if the roads were still open, I was going. Joan, you know that. Yeah. Anybody else? Anything else that stood out in Dr. Amanda's message?
One thing I can say is, I think you have to be intentional. To be very intentional and focused. Like, for example, I'll take my own example. You know, sometimes I'll say, okay, today I'm going to speak to 2 people. And when I say speak, meaning getting their phone numbers and doing, you know, doing that. And where I work part-time, Winners, it's, I know at the back of my brain, it's there, but it's intentional. And by hook or by crook, I get it. So it's being intentional and then following through it and recognizing that there are many opportunities. And the other day, for example, after my shift, I was trying to look for something in the coat rack, and this lady's next to me, and I was chatting with her. And then she says, oh, okay. She says, I got to lose weight, and because I, they look at my belly and blah, blah, blah. And then she said, and I have cancer. I said, oh. And then I said, okay. So I said, I told her a little bit very quickly about your life. And I said, and then she looks at me, she goes, are you Leonie? We met a couple of years ago when we went, one of the markets, and we bought something at her store, and she remembered who I was. And we had a really good conversation. Hopefully she comes on tonight. So that was one of mine that day. And then later on, I got someone else's phone number. So what it is when you are intentional, you attract these things because it's in the back of my brain to do something about it. So that's my own challenge to myself.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And staying plugged in, I think she she mentioned that quite a bit. And what does that mean? That means coming on the Tuesday nights, coming on the Thursday nights, doing an in-home meetings. There has to be some kind of activity to keep that momentum going. And I remember when we had our meetings in Mississauga, if I had to, ask my supervisor to go home early, I begged him. And he knew that if he didn't let me go home early, that I was booking off sick. So, a lot of times he'd give me a little bit of an incentive. I'm not going to tell you what the incentive was, but I would do whatever I had to do on my job, and I would do the job, and he'd let me get off work early so I can go to my meeting, because he knew I didn't want to be there. And those events and staying plugged in was really important. I remember when we were doing our leadership training, I remember writing down our goals. I remember Jerry Brassfield, saying that, coming to events is key, because when you have somebody, several no's in a day or in a month or in a week, what's going to inspire you to keep going? It's the community. And if you're not staying plugged into the community, it's hard to dig deep and get that desire. That desire has to be burning, has to be strong, and you have to constantly feed it. And that's where staying by the campfire is something that, everybody is talking about, in being around like-minded people. Right. So really important to stay plugged in. I never missed an event unless something really, really, really important was happening. Like it was something that was my goal, because I knew what I wanted. I had this vision, and I knew I had to make these small sacrifices to get to where I needed to get to. So just stay plugged in, and events are key. And yes, Impact Summit is definitely a priority. If you're not going this year, it's not too late if you haven't committed. But if you can go. If not, put it on your goal for next year. They're going to announce where it is, and right away book that time off for next year. Okay, because it really is oh my gosh. Yeah, especially 65 years of, oh my gosh, and meeting this SAB, and anyways, it'd be awesome. Anything else? Come on, guys. There's a lot of nuggets that Dr. Amanda. Gratitude, right? Being grateful. And it's, that is something that many of us have struggles and things happening in our life that would stop a lot of people from doing anything, and just kind of wallowing and living in regret and being unhappy. Very easy to fall into that group. Okay. But if you focus on something to be grateful for every single day, really important. And I've always done that. But when Ashley told me to write down my 25 cards, I still read my cards every day. Anybody else reading positive affirmations? I know Rose, you are, Wen, you are, Joan, you are, and Anne. And it's so important. I know Laura May does. She has her joy journal. I have my joy journal. I write in that when on Rosary Group, and we're doing our rosary prayers in the morning. I'm writing when we're doing our intentions. I'm writing what I'm grateful for in my little joy journal. It's so important that you have your pen on paper. Well, it's like prayer. Same thing, right? It just kind of keeps you focused. And Dr. Amanda Smith even said, you know, she talked about the spiritual life too, like being around good people, caring, kind. So yeah, so important that you write down what you're grateful for, you write down your affirmations, you focus on those every single day, because that's what's going to help you to stay positive and motivated when things do get tough, because things are going to get tough. It's just part of life. Things are going to happen. Things are going to get thrown at you. And it's how you get back up and how you look at it and how you move forward.
How about finding encouragers and being an encourager? That was
Yeah. Alan loved that. I know he went over that at the end there. Be an encourager. Yeah. And that's like when you start to work to develop your team will look at you. They're going to look for you for encouragement. You are going to be, you know, the person that's going to help them and guide them and lead them. And as they develop and start to develop their own leadership skills, and they will become encouragers to their team. And it's just the way things flow. But you gotta set that foundation. Find people you can laugh with. Oh my gosh, I love that, because
yes.
tomorrow night I'm going to the movies with some friends, and there wasn't a lot of good movies playing. There's a comedy playing, and I watched the trailer and I laughed so hard. I thought, okay, we're gonna have a night of laughter. So anyways, it's gonna be fun and funny and silly, but it's so true. It's so good to laugh, have some fun, and just, yeah, I love that too. And we have a lot of fun at convention, a lot of fun. So there'll be a lot of laughter there.
Nada?
Yes.
Yeah. How about invest in relationship and be sincere, like, you know, be a good friend and just get around
genuine.
and meet people and.
Yeah. She led with that, genuine. And it's, you know, Virginia, that is what, you know, when she got to that retreat, like, she didn't know what Neil Life was about. She didn't know, she'd never tried the products before. They said yes to the business before even trying the products. Right? Because she felt that genuine, the sincerity, the friendships, and she wasn't getting that in her work environment. And that's what drew her to the business. Right. And the products kept her in the business. Right. And then she continued to grow, her and her husband. And like I said, you should have seen Tom. He was like not wanting to be there. He was so mad that he wasn't hunting back with all his buddies. He was so upset being there. But after half a day, he just kind of went, wow, am I ever glad I'm here? Because of that friendship, the sincerity, the community. Right. So, yeah. Anybody else? Come on, guys. I want to hear from you. Rosie, you usually have something to say.
I'm just taking it all in today.
I know.
No, but I came in when she started talking about that relationship, and I like, that's so key, I think. And like, I think we forget that sometime. And I'll just share an example with you guys, because like Nada's always said that to me too. Like, you have, like, people trust you. Like, she's, you know, talking about me, and I don't lead with that. I don't lead with that relationship or that connection, like, really, right? I think I'm like how she said, don't focus on the products. Like, I'm listening and I'm trying to think, okay, what product can help them, where it should be more the other way around. Like, have them trust you, open up about what it is that they, you know, what they're dealing with, and then kind of go with that. And, you know, I thought that's why that one on Friday I felt was so successful, right? Because we did a 3-way call together, and yeah, it was all about the relationship, and that actually comes natural, like to me. I think for most of us it does, but I think we try and make this so much more difficult than it really is. So I think, yeah, the lesson for me is really just be yourself, and you know, just go with that. And that, I love that she said that, you know, go with the relationship, stick to the connection versus the product.
And what did he say before I even did the presentation?
Yeah, he said, oh, I just really trust Rose. And
I really trust Rose already. I know I'm going to try it. He didn't even know what we were going to tell him, what he was going to buy. He said, oh no, I already trust Rose. I trust Rose. Just I'll listen, but I already know that I'm going to do this, but I just don't know where I'm going to start. Right. So, yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm so grateful that he said that to you, Rose, because that was some of the challenges we've had. Because I've always
Mhm.
told you that people like you, they trust you. They, you know, you don't have to try to sell them anything. We're
Yeah,
just
it's true.
guiding them. Right.
Yeah.
He's already made the decision. Now we just have to guide him where he's going to get started. What's the best system for him.
Mhm.
Right. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, and
was a
Amanda
really-
is great. Yeah, she is very good. I've met her. She's very sincere, very like what you see is what you get with her. So yeah, it's mhm.
Beautiful.
Hmm.
Awesome. Anybody else? We just have a couple more minutes before we go on to the other side at 8 o'clock to our health talk. But if anybody else has anything else, any other input that before we head over.
I know they talked about, I mean, when you're talking about your personal growth and development, you know, for me that one of the things that came out was just building your self-confidence too. And that's where I struggle a bit with. So, I mean, as excited as I want to do things, like I want to feel confident, right? Enough to share the information to people too, right?
Yeah, and you will. That will come. That
And-
comes with time and experience. Time
And I realize
staying-
that.
and
right?
staying plugged in.
Yeah.
Right, staying plugged in. And if you can't make it live on their Thursday nights, you watch the recording. Because how are you going to learn?
Right.
Right, it's like going to school, right? Taking a course,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
How are you going to gain that knowledge?
And that's
Can
a great,
can I add to that?
great fun.
too? So-
Yes.
Get
Yeah,
access.
so Allison, Joan is your mentor, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I was gonna say right there, you don't need to know anything. Like
Yeah.
go with Joan. Like, and honestly, like you sound like me when I first started, like I felt like I had to know everything. And that's what it actually prevented me from speaking. Right.
Yeah.
And don't do that. Like just
Yeah.
be like you have something to help them, and then right away get Joan involved. Like, oh my gosh, Joan, like
Yeah, she's great. She is
she's
really great.
fantastic, right? And she would, of course, she would be able to share what they need to know. But again, use your connection to get them to Joan. Don't worry about all that stuff. Because
Yeah.
honestly, I do that. I still do that. So it's easy for me to tell you, but I'm learning, right? Like I rely on Nada like a lot because it's like I
Yeah.
don't know everything. I haven't
yeah.
experienced, yeah.
It is a learning curve, and I see it
Mhm.
as I share information for people, and then Joan gets involved, and I'm just watching her in action, and
Yeah.
all soaking it in. So it's
Yeah.
like it gets you more
Yeah, and
excited.
don't try and be Joan. Like Joan's
No, no.
great, but I can't be Joan,
I don't. I
right?
can't.
I can't be Nada, right? But use them when you need. That's what I mean, right? Like just be yourself. Yeah. Mhm.
Thanks. Yeah.
All you need to know is your story, right? Get your
Yeah.
story. All you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I had my upline. I remember calling Alp sometimes 4, 5, 7 times a day, and I'd always apologize. I'm so sorry that I'm calling you again. He's like, don't ever apologize. He goes, I love when that phone rings, and I love that it's you at the other end. Because he knew I was excited about building my business and I wanted to know more. And people were asking me questions and I didn't know the answers. And because like I said, we didn't have the answers at our fingertips. Right now we have a lot of answers at our fingertips. A quick text message, or you go on the back office and you can pull up the fast facts on a product and boom, you can get the information. But before we didn't have that, no access to that. So I was calling him constantly. So and that's how I learned. Right. So you will gain that knowledge. Just have fun in the journey and don't let not knowing hold you back. Because people buy you, your heart, your sincerity, your honesty, and don't be afraid to say, I don't know the answer to that, but I'm going to find out. I'll get back to you. Right. There's nothing wrong with saying that.
Yeah. Great.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. And you know what? Start booking in-homes. Start doing meetings. Frances is the queen of in-homes. I think we had 2 people at our meeting on Sunday, and they both signed up, and they both said they wish they would have brought people, and they both said that they want to have their own in-home meeting. So, hey, Frances, we've had 2 a month, I think, in the last couple of months, like 3 months, I guess.
Oh, hang on. Hi.
Oh,
Hi. Yeah, well, every couple of, I guess I'm having them quite frequently, but I'm running out of people to call, to be honest.
Don't worry.
But,
Those people know people.
okay, last weekend I had 2 people, but I asked a lot of people and they just didn't want to come. So I don't know. It's
They'll come.
yeah.
They'll come. Not everybody comes right away, right, guys? Remember that. That is one of the things you just got to keep focused, keep persistent, dance with people that want to dance, focus on the people that are interested. And those people that said no initially will eventually come around, or they will never come around.
Right.
You're going to get a different wave. So don't worry, don't focus on that. Just stay focused and work with the people. Like, look how excited those 2 were yesterday. They were like
Yeah.
so happy that they came, right?
Yeah,
So
they
that's what you
were.
got to focus on. And that's what you got to, be grateful for. And
Right.
we will get more people. So don't worry about that. You will find more people because they know people. Like your happy customers know people, right? And that's
Mhm.
where that growth comes, with people sharing. Okay. Awesome. Well, I want to thank you all for joining us tonight. And I know we've got just over 2 weeks before we're going to be getting on a plane or driving. I know, Francis, you're driving to Texas and then driving to
Yeah.
San Antonio, which is
Whoa.
awesome. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
got family there. So we're going to
Yeah.
meet her there. And this is her first summit. She has her sister-in-law coming with her. So I'm pretty excited. So it'll be
Yeah.
it'll be a really cool experience. Really, really cool experience.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I
Yeah.
want to thank you again for joining us tonight. If you have any guests coming on the other side, Joan and I are going to be doing the presentation at 8 o'clock tonight. So thanks again, guys. Have a great night. And thank you all for sharing. And thank you, Dr. Amanda Smith.
Thank you,
Take
Nada.
care, guys.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.